As the world is refreshed following the events of death metal, writers Dan Jurgens, Andy Schmidt, and Robert Venditti and a slew of talented artists present a story of a threat of cosmic proportions to DC's newest and oldest universe, which compels one of the most unusual groups of heroes ever assembled to take on one of the most mysterious foes they have ever encountered. So the writing in Generation Shattered is not bad, but what hinders this story is the immense size and time it ironically wastes. Now, I'm not talking about the scope of the story, which is big and it is pretty cool, but what I'm talking about is how the issue is almost 80 pages long, with maybe at least 15 or so of those pages being the actual story. The remaining pages are all literally recaps of Kamandi telling the 1939 Batman about him recruiting the different heroes. Now, I would be fine with that. The problem is that all the recruiting is exactly the same and goes exactly like this on each occasion. Kamandi arrives in whatever era they are in, usually during a famous hero-villain fight, gets blamed for the time wave that follows after him, has a slight confrontation with the hero, who then is told by Skeets that there is no time for this before leaving with said hero. This exact scenario happens 7 different times over the issue, all exactly the same. The only thing that changed was the hero Kamandi was picking up. This is absolutely not good use of time, and I have no idea why 3 writers, 2 of which have done big events and are familiar with how all this works, couldn't come up with something different for each character being recruited. The book and event as well also feels like an extremely truncated version of 0 Hour, a 90s DC event which again saw a villain trying to rewrite time in his own image, except here it's all of the issues of 0 Hour plus probably half of 0 Hour's 33 tie-ins crammed into one issue. Despite all of this, there is some things I did enjoy about the book. I enjoyed the different team makeup, and I liked that through the book we learn that all of the members who were there weren't exactly meant to be part of this team, but a mixture of Kamandi's inexperience with time and time itself forced them to be part of it. It's a quite cool makeup. We got Steel, we got Sinestro, we got Booster Gold, we got Dr. Light. It's really a damn cool team, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of them in the next issue, since we didn't really get a lot of time with them together except for the last couple of pages. Dominus being a villain is a little fun as well, and I appreciate that they're using an old Superman villain doing the evil deeds this time. The ending with him disappearing off into a black and white 1950s era world was so weird, and I loved it. It felt like something you'd see at the end of like an Alan Moore book, or in DC's case something like Doomsday Clock or something. It was just so weird and it hooked my attention, and now I want to know more about what the hell that was about. The book enlisted the help of many of DC's current big artists like Ivan Reyes, Kevin Nowlan, Rags Morales, and John Romita Jr. to help tell this story, and usually I don't like it when a book constantly changes artists from page to page over an issue, but here it makes sense to the story and isn't as abrupt since we are traveling different timelines and eras, so having a different artist to represent a timeline that is in the future to one set in the past is pretty great. How the artists are also positioned, as in who follows after who, also seems to have been thought out as well, since the transitions from say Ivan Reyes to Fernando Pasarin flowed very well and complemented each other very well. It's not without its minor problems for me though, as some of the art looked very strange or a little rushed or changed, like a panel from Bernard Chang where Superman's face looks super deformed, or some of Rags Morales' later panels in the book looking a little bit too busy and a little bit too much going on in each panel. Generation Shattered issue 1 was kind of all over the place, which is ironic being as the issue takes place all over the DC universe. A lot of this issue was wasted in showing the exact same recruiting hero montage 7 times in a row, with no change and the actual story only picking up near the end of the book, which in the end balloons out to a ridiculous 70 plus pages. The team is an interesting choice for a story like this, and the countless artists who lent their talents to the book all flowed well from one another, albeit a few minor nitpicks on my part. Overall, I think this issue probably should have been split into 2 to let the story breathe a little and expand parts that were very clearly cut down due to the constraints this book had put on it, but it hooked me enough to get me interested in the next issue. I'm going to give this issue a 5.5 out of 10. Generation Shattered issue 1 heads to Earth's future, where Kamandi and Tough Ten escape the Bats and the Doom Cloud. Tuftan is hit by a spear as a bright light begins to consume everything around the boy. The bats continue to come for Kamandi though, throwing a firebomb at him as a gold-armed being pulls him into a hidden hole in the wall. The explosion of the bomb blows Kamandi and the man back into the hole. The being hopes that it wasn't a mistake saving the young boy and his mission is blown, knowing that if they fail, everyone dies and everything ends. A robot voice says that thanks to the most recent developments, they need to recalculate the chronal probabilities. Kamandi is surprised that this being knows his name, asking what the white storm was that was wiping everything away. The being unmasks themselves, revealing they are an aged Booster Gold, who thanks to his past injury now uses Skeets as his arm. Skeets says that they have 83 seconds until erasure, and Kamandi knows that he means the goneness, the thing that the Bat People blamed him for. Skeets urges them to leave, but the Bat People soon find them, attacking the men and hitting Booster with an arrow. The bright wave soon arrives as Kamandi tells Booster that it's time to leave. Booster knows it's too late for him, telling Skeets to liquefy and transfer over to Kamandi. The robot does so, attaching to the boy's arm as it activates, saying the team must be assembled if they are to save time. Booster is left as the wave approaches the timeline. In the past, present, future, and far future in the time stream, multiple beings like Reverse Flash to Rip Hunter to Owlman feel a disturbance as Kamandi is found by Wave Rider. The being knows that he has seconds, finding the injured Booster as Kamandi takes off, but Michael tells him to leave as the wave takes them. Elsewhere, a being watches the universe implode, knowing that they have waited eternities for this and came to this place to create the now. The being watches as the universe is reborn by Wonder Woman's sacrifice against the darkest night, knowing that to have what they want, he must turn from the universe he once called his own and cut away its might and power. He says why should he deal with them when he can find a more suitable place in time that works differently, when all of the heroes are scattered and not yet united and will be ill prepared to prevent him from shattering the world. The being begins looking through time as Kamandi awakens in the time stream, learning from Skeets that they are heading back centuries into the past. Kamandi wants to go back for Booster, but Skeets says ironically they don't have the time to as lightning strikes around them, notifying Skeets that they cannot go back since time is under attack and Booster and him are assembling a team and now they will head to the future and start from there. At the vanishing point, the linear men watch as reality becomes undone and their monitors across time go blank. Matthew Ryder knows that it's their job to find answers, learning from his team that the surge began after the Great Disaster. Activating their time stream, the group head out to find answers, and the linear men arrive at an asteroid, knowing this isn't where they were intending to go. A hooded being says that they are there because he brought them there, since he needs agents, so the team will be repurposed and serve a new master. The linear men are attacked as in the 31st century, the Legion of Superheroes listen to Brainiac 5, who tells them something is happening to time and a chronal energy wave is devouring it. Suddenly the hero realizes it's too late as the chronal wave hits their timeline, spilling all sorts of monsters and dinosaurs into the future. Brainiac 5 can't believe the types of monsters coming through as the Legion get to work saving the nearby people. As they rescue the people, Saturn Girl senses something, overwhelmed by what she feels. Superboy tries to tell Imra to get out of the area, but it's too late as she is taken by the wave, and Clark is yanked through a portal by Kamandi. Superboy demands to be sent back so he can save his friends, grabbing Kamandi and demanding to know who he is. Kamandi says that he doesn't understand since he saved the hero, but Skeets says that he saved the wrong Superman. Superboy says that if this is a mistake, he needs to be sent back, but Kamandi says that Skeets told him to take one of the heroes. Skeets says that he meant Brainiac 5, since he would have been able to be a great help, but now they have to hurry, so there is another genius they can get along the way. In 1993, Steel gets ready to destroy Cyborg Superman, smashing him with his upgraded hammer. Cyborg Superman manages to get up, calling Steel an imposter, blasting the hero with his heat vision. Henshaw says that John Henry lacks the fortitude to replace Superman, but Steel knows that Cyborg Superman doesn't have the heart, and like everyone else, he fell for the Cyborg Superman's act, thinking he would live up to the mantle of Superman, but instead he killed millions in Coast City. Cyborg Superman flies at Steel as suddenly the chronal wave arrives. Steel thinks that this is Hank's doing, but the Cyborg Superman says this isn't his fault as Steel is taken by Kamandi, leaving the Cyborg Superman to be taken by the wave, accepting his final ending. Steel finds himself in the time stream with Kamandi, who hopes he can explain what's happening, but first they need to gather more heroes. In 1987, Dr. Kamio Hoshi's lecture on time and chronal energy is interrupted by Hector Hammond, who tells her what has been happening to time right now. Dr. Light knows that time couldn't be dying again since they stopped the crisis, but Hammond knows that there is more than one crisis. The Doctor's children run in, defending their mother as Hammond psychically grabs Dr. Light, knowing that there is no time for this. Suddenly, Hammond is pelted in the head by a stone thrown by Kamandi. Thanks to the villain being distracted, Dr. Light blasts him with her powers, throwing him from the building as Kamandi finds himself impressed, but also finds himself at odds with the language barrier between him and the Japanese-speaking woman. Dr. Light, though, knows what the boy wants, intending on helping him, but her children don't want her to go. Skeets tells the Doctor they have no time, so she tells her children while they are scared, they need to remember that she's a scientist and a hero, and now she's got obligations beyond being there with them, and sometimes to protect them, she needs to leave. Her children understand, so the Doctor heads through time. Kamandi asks who's next. Learning from Skeets it's Superman, but each destination is getting harder to pinpoint thanks to the wave. Kamandi has no idea what that means, so Skeets compares it to riding water rapids. Soon they arrive in Metropolis, a home of the hero Kamandi has actually heard of, always wondering if Superman was real. Kamandi is shocked to learn of the size of Metropolis, as Clark is already changing on the Daily Planet roof when Kamandi lands. Clark thinks the boy is behind this wave, but Kamandi is surprised to learn the wave is already there. But before he can say anything, Superman takes off after it, saying that he will deal with the boy later. Before Kamandi can do anything though, he is attacked by a cape-wearing Booster Gold. Booster knows he's barely been in this timeline for a day and it's already on the verge of destruction, thinking Kamandi is behind the wave. Therefore, if he takes down the boy, he will finally be a famous hero. Kamandi finds this rather confusing as Booster's Skeets says that in addition to Strange Boy with the other Skeets, the Chronal Storm has arrived. The storm takes Superman as Booster wonders how they fight something like that. Kamandi knows they can't stop it here and his Skeets agree since this isn't about Superman or Metropolis and it must be stopped elsewhere. Booster wants to know why his gauntlet sounds like Skeets, so Kamandi says that it is Skeets, and Booster's Skeets confirms the boy's claims. Kamandi fills in Booster on what has happened and how an older version of him sent him on a mission to stop the storm. The two heroes head into the time stream as Booster thinks the boy came looking for him, but Skeets corrects him, knowing the boy was looking for Superman. Booster doesn't care, only interested if they are recording this whole thing since he'll have to play him saving the universe in his greatest hits package. In 1983, the Teen Titans battle Deathstroke as Kamandi arrives, getting hit by one of Terra's thrown rocks. Deathstroke takes down Beast Boy and Robin, who is saved by Starfire as Kamandi thinks that the talking wolf means he's back home and free from his fever dream. Victor tells Garfield to find out who the mysterious boy is as Kamandi hugs Beast Boy, telling him the hero came through time for one of them, but doesn't know which one. Skeets begins to malfunction, but says they need the strongest Teen Titan as Starfire angrily attacks Deathstroke for hurting her friends, blasting Deathstroke and defeating him once and for all. Kamandi knows now who he needs to take, grabbing Corey and teleporting back to the time stream. The Titans wonder where Starfire has gotten to, but Raven knows that Kamandi's intentions were pure, as on the planet Ran, Adam Strange battles a crawler, unable to pierce its Imperium armor. Alana says that they don't have anything able to pierce its armor as the Green Lantern Sinestro arrives, learning who Adam and Alana are as he easily cuts up the armored behemoth with his constructs. He tells Adam that he can count himself lucky he was passing through the sector to get home, as well as his ring being more powerful than any of their primitive defenses. Adam and Alana are amazed at the lantern's power, asking if the rumors of hundreds of lanterns existing are true. Sinestro says there are more than hundreds, introducing himself formally as he smashes up the crawler, making Adam comment about how that was a bit too far since lanterns are meant to be for peace. Sinestro says that they are for peace but also for order, and these people needed to pay. Soon the Chronal Wave arrives, engulfing the city, and Adam thinks a null bomb was detonated in it. Sinestro spots the arriving Kamandi, thinking that he is behind this attack. Sinestro grabs the boy, but Skeets tells the Lantern that they did nothing wrong, and they have no time for explanations right now. Having made contact with Sinestro, the three beings disappear into the timeline as Adam and Alana are taken by the wave. Kamandi finishes his recount of the gathering of his team to Batman, who finds it impossible that 1939 wasn't the boy's only destination. Kamandi tells the hero that they are going to be fighting the time storms, and while they didn't get everyone they targeted, the ones he did get are at the vanishing point, which the heroes arrive at. Batman wants some explanation about all this, but Kamandi doesn't have any answers, seeing as he too just met all of these people he gathered, having picked them up with Skeets' guidance. Kamandi finally sits down for once, knowing that he made hundreds of stops Cyclops along the time stream, and they were the only ones he could find, and he was meant to be raising an army to fight this time storm, so how can 8 of them possibly even battle the time wave? Sinestro knows that they will suffice, but Kamandi angrily rips off Skeets, saying that where he comes from, he doesn't even know who most of them are, and now Skeets is damaged and it was the only thing with any real answers. Booster Gold meanwhile tries to hit on Starfire, warned he shouldn't be doing that by Sinestro, but it's too late as Starfire smashes him in the face for touching her. Superboy says that he can see Starfire doesn't trust any of them, but reassures her that whatever they face together. Dr. Light wonders where they are exactly, knowing that they aren't in any known universe. Sinestro uses his ring to permanently translate her Japanese language, as Light says that they seem to be in a dimension made up of time itself. Booster thinks that she's onto something as the team spot the literal splinters of time. Dr. Light says that if something fractured time, then the shards can't survive on their own, hoping the heroes know their world is dying. As Booster tries to get Sinestro to give him his lantern ring when he dies, Steel says that they are outside time, yet experiencing it normally, meaning they have a narrow window to fix whatever is breaking time. Booster wonders how they can fix it, and Batman remembers Kamandi mentioning them fighting back, meaning that they are there to stop what's causing it, not to repair the damage already done. The only question is, who will they be fighting against? Suddenly, the Linear Men, with a few new members, arrive, telling the heroes that they are invaders in this timeline and will be re-educated. Starfire attacks all of the beings and they are blasted out into space. Steel races to save Dr. Light, but she finds that she can breathe perfectly fine. The Linear Men soon come for the group, and Major Force tells Starfire that what she just did was an act of war. Sinestro grabs him with a construct, smashing him into time, which spits them out into another time and under the Earth's core. Eradicator meanwhile begins to melt Steel, but the hero smashes him back through time as well, fighting the villain in what appears to be ancient Egypt. Dr. Light is tackled into time by Knockout, but as she is, the Doctor is more interested in the structure of time, finding its shape makes up a helix. Batman meanwhile is taken through time and battles OMAC in a destroyed city, where he finds the JSA arriving, with Wonder Woman telling him to stop fighting with each other and to save it for the Nazis. The heroes continue their battle throughout time as Superboy confronts Nemesis Kid, traitor to the Legion of Superheroes. As he fights, Clark realizes that they are on Krypton, watching his rocket leave as the destruction of the planet begins. He wonders if he can find his parents still alive, as Nemesis Kid knows he can use that against the hero. Soon the heroes are all defeated by their villains, as Dr. Light realizes that time being in a helix formation means that there is a designer behind it. All across the timeline, time begins fracturing even more until the villain behind it, Dominus, appears, calling all of the heroes aberrations and a threat to the fabric of time. Dominus says that he has labored for too long and too hard and will protect what he has made. Booster has no idea who this being is, so Dominus introduces himself, saying that time and reality are his domain. Sinestro knows about the being from the Lantern records, thinking that he is long dead, but Dominus says that time is merely a point in time, and he's creating perfection from their inferior timelines. Perfection they will not live to see, since once his new timeline is solidified and their timelines are destroyed, they will be long gone. Batman knows that they aren't bones yet, but Dominus knows that they stand no chance, since he controls everything, even the Linear Men, having altered them to serve him. The Linear Men soon realize that they were used, turning on their master, as Dr. Light says Dominus's casual manipulation of time threatens the laws of the universe. But the villain doesn't care, knowing that he's faced objections before and it's easily cured. He blasts the heroes and villains, erasing their minds of some of the heroes and villains, making them forget why they are attacking, as well as the villains being put back under his control. However, Starfire and Batman remember what was happening, blasting the villain who was caught off guard by the heroes being unaffected. The villains though know they must punish the heroes for their crimes against time, getting ready to attack as the heroes rush Dominus, who demands they go away. He blasts them clear of the asteroid, sending them spiraling through time and into the shattered timeline. The heroes fall through the jumbled timeline and are all soon scattered to the different eras. Batman arrives in a futuristic city, immediately set upon by a vehicle vehicle that demands he stop in the name of Mr. Big. The flying car fires on him, prompting the Dark Knight to race into a nearby warehouse. Inside he hears a voice, finding it belongs to a disassembled robot woman who wants to be put together so they can play with Batman and be his friend. Soon some soldiers come for Batman, intending on capturing the hero as the linear men learned their master scattered the heroes across the dying timelines, and now that they are apart, they will be easy to hunt down and kill. Ultra Humanite wonders who will be doing that, but Dominus says it's already been arranged, leaving the reality and entering his own black and white one, where he dresses in some normal 50s era clothes and visits his family.